Have you ever looked up at the night sky and just felt that sense of, wow, this is huge. Like there's something immense out there, just, beyond our grasp.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And that feeling, the source material we're diving into today suggests that might be more than just simple wonder.
More, how so?
It describes it as maybe, maybe the soul starting to remember where it came from.
Whoa. Okay, right. Let's unpack that a bit because this deep dive, that's exactly what it's about, isn't it? Exploring that feeling, this deep interconnectedness.
Yeah, between consciousness, the universe, and, well, us, our place in it all.
And we've got some really fascinating source material here. It seems to lay out these ideas through a conversation that kind of blends science and more spiritual perspectives.
Exactly. So think of us as your guides navigating this stuff. Our mission really is to pull out the most, let's say, surprising and impactful bits from this source.
Helping you, the listener, understand its angle on where consciousness might come from.
How it all ties together and what it could, possibly mean for how we think about life, death, even just navigating your own day-to-day experience.
Okay, let's start right there then. That shared feeling, looking up at the stars. Feeling tiny, but maybe also part of something enormous.
Precisely. And the Force kicks this off with a really interesting sort of two-sided idea.
Okay.
On one hand, you've got the science. Modern science tells us our physical bodies, the carbon, nitrogen, all that.
Yeah.
It was literally forged inside dying stars. We are, factually, made of stardust.
Which is just, that alone is pretty mind-bending. We're walking, talking bits of the cosmos.
Right. It's amazing. But then the source material adds another layer, a more spiritual perspective.
Right is.
That consciousness itself, or maybe the soul, depending on the term you use, it's believed by many, not just to come from the brain or the body, but maybe from somewhere else entirely. A dimension or source beyond this physical reality we know.
Okay, see, this is where it starts getting really interesting for me. Because the source doesn't just stop at it comes from elsewhere.
No, it goes further.
It actually challenges the whole idea that consciousness is just like a side effect of brain activity. It suggests consciousness might be fundamental.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the core concept presented.
Yeah.
That consciousness could be the bedrock, the actual fabric of the universe, not just something produced by it.
Wow. And how does it connect that? Because that sounds huge.
Well, surprisingly, the source connects this to ideas from quantum physics.
Really?
Right.
Like what? Like quantum entanglement? That weird thing where particles seem linked instantly no matter how far apart.
That's the exact one it mentions.
Yeah.
Yeah. The source uses that phenomenon, this spooky connection that defies space and time as we normally think of them,
Okay.
to suggest something deeper. If even these tiny particles are connected in that way, maybe. Maybe everything is fundamentally connected.
Meaning us.
Meaning us. Yeah. Connected to each other, connected to the planet, to those very stars we look up at.
And connected to what the source calls source, with a capital S.
Right. Capital S.
So how does the source material talk about that? What is source?
Well, it's described in a few ways. Different traditions might call it God or the universe or the one infinite creator.
Or just energy.
Or just pure energy, exactly.
Yeah.
The key point the source makes, though, isn't really about the specific name.
It's more about the underlying thing.
Precisely. It's about the underlying intelligent vibration or consciousness that flows through and connects everything, unifies it all.
Okay, so if we're made of stardust physically, and we're connected to this universal source through our consciousness, that throws up massive questions about life and death, right?
Absolutely.
Are we just these physical bodies, living one life, and then that's it?
Well, according to the perspective in this material, the answer is a pretty clear no.
No. So what then?
Life in this physical body is described almost like a dream the soul is having.
A dream.
Yeah. And death, in this view, isn't an ending. It's framed more like waking up.
Waking up from the dream,
Right.
realizing.
Realizing the soul's true nature.
Yeah.
That it's infinite, eternal. And this life, whether it feels amazing or incredibly tough,
Yeah.
it's described as just one experience, one chapter in a much, much longer journey.
A soldier. Okay, but why? Why come here? Why choose a physical life if it involves so much, difficulty and challenge, pain?
That's a central question it addresses.
Mhm.
The source suggests the soul actually chooses physical life, specifically because it offers something unique.
Which is?
Contrast. The opportunity for really intense learning and evolution that comes from experiencing duality.
Duality, like
Oh.
light and shadow, joy and pain. that kind of thing.
Exactly. That's framed as the main way the soul grows.
Mm-hmm.
So Earth, in this perspective, becomes a kind of, well, a school for consciousness.
Calling it a school when you're talking about suffering or chaos, that's still hard to grapple with. It doesn't make the pain feel any less real.
Oh, absolutely not. And the source is clear about acknowledging the real difficulty in pain and suffering. It's not dismissing it. But the perspective offered is that maybe from a higher, broader viewpoint, these really tough experiences, what looks like pure chaos to us down here, might actually be part of a larger pattern, a bigger design, possessing what it calls a kind of hidden order.
A hidden order. Wow. Okay. So if the soul chooses this path, this school, where does our free will come in? Are we just puppets playing out a script?
No, not at all. Free will is described as absolutely central, sacred even, fundamental to the whole process.
So it's like the ultimate gift.
That's how it's presented, yes.
Yeah.
The gift that allows us moment by moment to choose how we respond, what state we inhabit.
Choosing love or fear, maybe? Expansion or staying small?
Exactly, those kinds of choices. And every single one of those choices, the source says, directly impacts our vibration or frequency.
Well, okay, the vibration concept. You hear that a lot in these kinds of discussions. How does this source material define it specifically?
It's basically described as your overall energetic state, a mix of your emotional state, your mental state.
And things like gratitude or compassion, being present, those raise it.
That's what it suggests, yes. Those are ways to consciously work with and elevate your vibration.
And the big takeaway there is it's not just about feeling better inside yourself.
Right. It's presented as doing much more. A higher vibration, according to the source, actually acts like a magnet.
A magnet.
Yeah, it's said to attract or magnetize experiences, situations, even people into your life that are sort of on a similar wavelength, vibrating at a similar frequency.
Okay, so that sounds a lot like the law of attraction, doesn't it?
It definitely connects to that idea, yeah.
Yeah.
But the source emphasizes it's maybe deeper than just, thinking positive thoughts.
How so?
It's more about becoming truly aligned emotionally, mentally, spiritually with the frequency of what you want to experience. It's about being that vibration, embodying it, not just thinking about it from a distance.
Being the vibration.
Yeah.
Okay, and this idea of alignment, of consciously choosing our frequency,
Yeah.
that leads us to maybe the most out there concept mentioned in the source, quantum jumping.
Ah, yes, quantum jumping. It's certainly a fascinating idea it introduces.
Tell us about that. What's the theory?
Well, the theory, as presented, is that there might be infinite versions of reality, like countless parallel timelines existing simultaneously.
Infinite realities, okay.
And quantum jumping is described as the potential we might have through really deep alignment.
Aligning thoughts, emotions, actions, like you said.
Exactly. Aligning all of that with the frequency of a desired future self or a preferred reality.
Yeah.
You can effectively shift or jump, as the source puts it, into that specific timeline, that experience.
So wait, it's not about escaping where you are now.
No, that's a key point the source makes. It's not about rejecting your present. It's actually about fully embracing where you are right now.
Okay.
And then making conscious choices from that place of alignment, choosing differently.
And even small shifts matter.
That's the idea. Even seemingly small shifts in your state of being, your vibration, can create these ripple effects out into the quantum field, potentially leading to, well, pretty big changes down the line.
That makes the universe feel incredibly alive, responsive, not just the static background for our lives.
Profoundly interactive is how
Yeah.
it's described.
Yeah.
And the really powerful concluding thought from the source is this. The universe is constantly listening to your energetic broadcast, your vibration. And so the most important question isn't really what do I want from the universe?
Yeah.
It's what am I broadcasting to the universe? What frequency are you sending out?
Wow. Okay. That really flips the script, doesn't it?
It does.
From being made of stardust to our consciousness maybe being the actual fabric of reality to seeing life as this soul's journey, learning through challenges, all guided by free will and the power of our own vibration.
In this interactive universe.
Yeah. Where we might even jump realities through conscious choice. I mean, wow, it's a lot to take in, all drawn from this one source.
It really is a deep dive, isn't it, into some huge, expansive ideas about who we are, what reality is, all through the lens of this particular source material.
So, building on that final thought, the universe listening to your broadcast, the source, leaves us with a really compelling suggestion, actually.
Which is about tuning in.
Yeah, tuning into your heart. It describes the heart as the place where your personal truth really resonates, where you feel that authentic frequency.
And that from that place, everything else unfolds naturally.
Right. So maybe the thought for you, the listener, to just sit with after hearing all this is, based on this perspective we've explored,
Yeah.
what happens when you consciously choose to tune into your heart's truth? How might that intentional shift actually change the broadcast you're sending out into this interactive universe?
That's a great question to ponder.
Something to really consider. Well, we hope this deep dive into the source material has given you some food for thought, some new perspectives, and maybe sparked a few questions of your own.